5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
The pandemic has brought on a lot of anxiety, so what do you do about the public's mental health? A revolutionary new program is coming out of Grand Prairie. That's next on The Jeff Crilley Show.
Predicting that the worst is yet to come, which is unfortunate, said one person here. Until now, they've enjoyed the reputation of being the nation's icebox.
Watched a burglar in his home this morning by webcam.
As a journalist of over 25 years, stories are what make my world turn.
Reporting live from the Dallas newsroom tonight, Jeff Crilley, Fox 4 News.
But in 2008, I took the jump from my familiar life and started a PR firm from my home.
We're talking about anyone with a camcorder like the one I'm using becomes a television network.
We started slowly growing the company, and we now have over 100 clients, and we've branched into the world of live digital broadcasting. I now own 8 different TV studios and have a huge team, and the stories that I now get to share are sometimes the most important of my life. Life has a funny way of coming around full circle. This is The Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, every single day in America, police are called to come to a home, and often the person they're dealing with has some mental disturbances, and cops just aren't trained to deal with that, certainly not the way that a mental health worker would be. To talk about that, Jeff Copeland, he's with the city of Grand Prairie. Thank you for coming to the show today.
Thank you so much for the opportunity to come and talk about this.
You bet. And you've been on the Grand Prairie City Council for how many years now?
9 years now.
9 years, okay. So tell us about COPE.
So COPE is a brand new program that we're just rolling out here within the last couple of weeks, and it stands for Community Outreach, Partnership, and Education. And what we're trying to do, and my son, 29 years old, suffers from anxiety and depression. And we've all heard those words, but until you lived it and you've seen what it really looks like. And this young man has his mechanical engineering degree from Texas A&M. His wife has her physician's assistant degree from A&M, and then the doctorate at North Texas. 2 wonderful, beautiful children. Everything looks all hunky-dory. I'm blessed to serve on the city council in Grand Prairie. You go look at my page, everything looks all normal. So we're here to say we are normal. And my son, I went to him first, and he agreed, you know, Daddy, I'll be the face of this, and I'm saying I will be too, because I want people to see that this is affecting so many families, and it's an issue that people try to sweep under the rug at times. And you know, if your child fell and broke their arm, you'd go get them help. And if your child is hurting, and there's so many things that I didn't understand about it when he was growing up, and then he went off to college, and we started experiencing some really, really bad things, and you just get better at knowing what it is. And so we want to try to help people. We want to help people avoid what we've been through.
Outstanding, and thank you for your leadership. There was a piece on NBC5 not long ago. Let's go ahead and roll that.
The Grand Prairie Police Department is starting a new program aimed at helping those living with mental illness. The Community Outreach Partnership and Education Program, or COPE for short, will gather details about those suffering from mental health challenges so that officers are better equipped to help them. Here's Jack Heiberger.
In law enforcement, they are among the most challenging interactions, but a new program launched by Grand Prairie Police aims to not just better prepare officers, but also help those living with mental health challenges.
And the hopes is that when people register, then we will be able to go out and meet them at their homes, get to know them, get to know what their needs are.
Courtney Runnels coordinates the program and says what sets it apart is its proactive approach.
The days of police officers just being crime fighters are long over.
Chief of Police Daniel Cessny believes the COPE program will ultimately save lives, not just by empowering officers with information, but helping to direct community members to health care before an encounter with police ever happens.
Our community doesn't have the ability to pick up the phone and have a mental health therapist at their door within 4 minutes, but they can a police officer. So we need to understand that part of our role is to help protect our folks, serve them with their needs.
Starting this week, Grand Prairie residents can register for the program either online or by dropping off an application. Cessny and Runnels both hope it will draw the community closer to the department.
Let us get to know you and let us see if there's anything we can help you and your family with. Yes.
Reporting in Grand Prairie, Jack Heiberger, NBC5.
And for more information on how to register in this program and find out if you qualify, just go to our website, nbcdfw.com.
Wow, what a great piece. So, and you were telling me off camera that there's hopes that this could roll out across the country.
Absolutely, because we're talking about a coordinator. So what you saw there with Courtney, what happens is our citizens totally at their own election. So there's nothing controversial here. When they're healthy, when they're mentally healthy and feeling good, as my son says, it's my son's name is Kurt, and he says it's up to healthy Kurt to take care of non-healthy Kurt. When healthy Kurt's feeling good, they fill out a form. You would go up and you would meet with Courtney, and then you're going to be in our system. And so if you should get pulled over, we're going to see your license plate. If we should get dispatched to your address, we're going to see that. If you give us your mother's address, we're going to see that. We're going to take all the information that you will give us and put it at our officers' fingertips and then react accordingly. The state of Texas requires police officers to have 40 hours of CIT, crisis intervention training. Grand Prairie is at 106 hours. And so my son, COVID kind of slowed this down a little bit, but my son is meeting with every patrol group before they go out on the road, meeting with all of our officers going through our academy, putting the face on. You know, we all have an idea of what mental health looks like, but not when you meet this kid. I mean, he's a great pianist, a great guitarist, life of the party, a great dancer, and you would be shocked to know that it scares him to answer a text. Yes. You know, it's just amazing how these things affect us, and so as a father going through it and being on the city council and being able to think, what can we do? I'll tell you, Jeff, that I was watching TV and I saw a mother and her son had mental health and had been shot by the police, and I'm not getting none of this is getting political or whether they should or shouldn't, but she was screaming at the camera, why didn't you know? Why didn't you know? And my first reaction was kind of negative, saying, well, how could we know? How could the police know? How can you blame the police for not knowing? And then God really laid it on my heart to start challenging that and saying, and making it a question. How could we know? How could we find out? How could we have more information? Look at all the information that an ambulance has or a fire truck has as they're going to a call. Police calls, it's a family disturbance. We have no idea what's going on. And, you know, recently on the news there was when my son gets into a bad episode, we call it glazed over. And it's just this different look, and it's hard to penetrate, and it takes a little while. And he's my best friend, but even as his daddy, it's tough. And I saw it was a story, and the guy had like a 3-inch knife, and he was obviously mentally ill. I saw the video. He was glazed over. It was obviously what was going on, and the officer was giving ground and giving ground as much as they could. And then all of a sudden the guy just lunged at the officer with a knife. And the officer did, in my opinion, what they had to do. And they shot him and killed him. And I was sharing that story with my wife. And I said, hey, come watch this and let me know what you think. I said, was that officer justified as this guy lunges at him with a knife even though he might have mental health issues? And my wife said, yes, absolutely he was justified. And I said, well, what if that was Kurt? What if that was our son? And as parents, we had to say, yes, our son would have been justifiably shot. And if that doesn't make you want to go do something different, and you know, I don't know what to change. So Jeff, think about this. Think about my son being glazed over. He's had an argument with his wife. He's left the house. And he's just driving around town, and he gets somewhere, and he just pulls over on the side of the road. And maybe he's even contemplating suicide. I don't know, but he has a pistol. And a citizen sees him sitting over there and calls the police, hey, you might want to check on this deal. Police officer pulls up behind him, probably either going to approach the vehicle and see the pistol and get nervous and how those situations deteriorate, or get on a big loud cop car speaker as he pulls up behind him with the lights going on and off. And then that makes my son shut down further as well, because his father can't get through to him, much less a police officer that's a stranger. And so now that same scenario under COPE because he's filled out the form. When we see we're going to a call on that license plate, we know Kurt. Because after he came up and interviewed at the police station, our other officers just drop by and check on him from time to time and say, how are you doing? You on your medicines? Everything going good? So we now have a relationship. And so now the responding officer to this call, he doesn't know my son, but he puts in the license plate and he sees everything. And so now maybe, and I'm not telling you these are the tried and true procedures, but now maybe instead of that officer pulling up behind my son with the lights going and over the loudspeaker saying, sir, show me your hands, remove yourself from the vehicle, maybe that officer pulls up knowing that flashing lights are one of Kurt's triggers, and the officer gets on the speaker and says, hey, Kurt, it's me, David. And I know I'm in a police car right now, but I'm here to help you. And I don't want you to hurt me, and I don't want me to hurt you. So can you show me your hands? Because one thing my son stressed to us is, in his darkest hours, as strong as his support group with, when he would go into those glazed over situations, he needed somebody to say, I want to help you. And so you couple that with 106 additional hours of training that our officers are undergoing that are well beyond the state mandatory, and putting our faces, our story, my son's face, our family's story, and allowing these officers to see what it really looks like, you know?
Wow. I just think you're doing the Lord's work. I mean,
thank you, brother.
God put a number on your heart.
Well, he did. He certainly did. I have never been burdened like that before, and he did.
Well, you certainly didn't predict this when you ran for a city council a few years ago. I found this great video. Let's go ahead and roll that now.
So Jeff, tell me what you do for a living, and how's that, what you do for a living, how's that going to help you be a good leader? How's it going to help you be a good decision maker for the city?
That's a great question. I am the president of a title insurance company, and so title insurance is when you're buying your house and you go to that place and you close and you sign all the documents and you don't know what all's going on. That's the title company, that's my office. But as an executive, as the president of the company, I'm more responsible for the visionary aspects of it, the long-term goals, what are we doing? And so in 2007, the real estate bubble busted, and real estate became ground zero of a global economic meltdown. And so I'm right there in the middle of it with my company, and I'm having to lead my company through that, and we had to go through some significant layoffs, and we went through several years of really hard times. Myself and every real estate agent and if you had anything to do with real estate, times were hard for 4 or 5 years, and it's not like they're all well and good now, but it's certainly better. But those lessons that I learned of how to manage your money, how to take what you have and stretch it out as long as you can. Let me tell you something, Jason. I have done so much with so little for so long that I can do dang near anything with nothing, all right? I'll tell you what my business has taught me is to seek the advice of people that are smarter than me, to listen to the hearts of the people that are passionate about the situation, and to seek God in prayer. But I take pride in having the strength and courage to make those tough decisions when I need to. And I'll do that for our city as well.
Wow, that is very cool. That's really one of the nicest videos I've seen, because I really felt like I got to know you.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Tell us, we talked about Cope. Any other highlights that you want to discuss from your career with the city council so far?
Well, I tell you, it is so much fun to serve in your hometown.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to grow up there, and we've got some. We have the Verizon Theater out there, which is a great place to see show, and we have Lone Star Park out there, and it's really nice that the city, as the owners of those facilities, we have a suite, and we get to take our citizens out there a lot. And one of my roommates from college, who's a lifelong best friend, is my roommate in college, he serves on the city council with me, and so we will sometimes share a suite together. And it's amazing how we're always looking over our shoulder thinking we're a couple of little kids about to get kicked out of there, you know, because you grow up sneaking around and then all of a sudden you're in your hometown. But it is so much fun to serve, and our city manager, a gentleman by the name of Tom Hart, every time you get reelected, and I noticed my sticker on my truck said 2014. That's when I was elected the first time, and I just got reelected. The reason I couldn't put the 9 years. But Tom Hart will always say, "What do you want to get done?" You know, and that's kind of a tough question that first term, because you're trying to just get your feet underneath you. But all of those questions for all of those years led us up to this COPE program, having no idea what you might be about to get into, but we're already getting contacted by police forces across the nation right now, because this is a program that doesn't require just a ton of money to do.
Yes.
You know?
Well, I love it that you wear your heart on your sleeve. In fact, when you were getting sworn in a few years ago, you got emotional. Let's go ahead and roll that clip.
And will to the best of my ability.
And will to the best of my ability.
There's a new face on the Grand Prairie City Council. Jeff Copeland took the oath of office Tuesday to represent District 7 at large. Copeland defeated 3 other candidates during a special election on November 5th.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
It is an honor to be in place. It's an honor to be on this city council, but to follow in Ruthie's footsteps. And I apologize for being emotional, but we loved her so much. And my commitment is, if I can do half as much as Ruthie did in twice the amount of time, then I'll be successful.
We're almost out of time. So final thoughts on COPE, and how can people support you?
If you're watching this show and anything that I've told you about COPE sounds appealing, then reach out, call your show, give them my number, contact your local police department, have them contact the Grand Prairie Police Department. This is not something we're wanting to sit on. We've done the groundwork on this deal, and we would love for it to just catch fire throughout the nation. I'm meeting with 3 different police departments this week, just to have the initial conversation of how does this work, what does it look like. And of course, our Grand Prairie Police Department is absolutely wonderful, and they know all the ins and outs, but I can go out and tell the story, and it's a great idea.
Outstanding. Well, I thank you for your service. We're going to end with the website so people can get in touch. There's the Grand Prairie website, and you can navigate to the COPE page. Jeff Copeland, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Jeff.
You were
Appreciate
awesome.
you, buddy.
You bet. And that's it for now. We'll see you next time.